now.
I'm so excited that you're here. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm so excited
You're
here.
you're a pretty cool human being. So
We decided this long ago that she was going to do this.
yes,
Not even 24
It was
hours
like
ago.
it was like 12 hours ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we were
Yay.
here. We
I
were
love
here
it.
decorating for the gala.
yes,
And she got to talking about like me entering it into Art Prize and how important it is and
I
all
love
of this because
that.
I'm going at it from like a mental health angle,
Yes.
you know, with things.
Love it.
And so she was just going on and I looked at her as I'm like in awe of what she's
You're
saying.
saying?
And I was like, would you be a guest on the podcast, please? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, does tomorrow work for you?
Can you check with your agent?
I
and
didn't
say-
give her any time. I was like, can I pick you up from school at 1 tomorrow?
Yes.
And then
Would
yeah.
you like to be done early so
Yep.
you could talk with us?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Addison Seaberg.
She's so cute.
She is.
I'm Heidi Waldheis.
And I'm Sarah Seaberg, and we are
Unfiltered.
Let them take me as far as they want to go. And it's time for me to say, they won't break me, I'm braver than I know. I was made for this. Oh, such a time as this.
We are so excited that you are here today. We have
are.
Addison here as our guest.
Yes, I
And
think you know her. I heard
I have met her once or twice.
a couple times.
I have.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. So we are very excited that she's here. And today we're going to talk about anxiety, depression, any of the mental health issues that are affecting Gen Z, which
Yes.
actually affect all of our generations, but we are not a part of Gen Z, so we don't really know exactly what's going on.
So let's
We're
talk.
just the old ladies over here asking you some questions.
Okay.
So that's why we brought you here. So Addison Seaberg, yes, relation.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about who you are? So what grade are you in?
An 8th grader
Okay. And where do
going
you go to
into
school?
9th. Potter's house, the Potter's house.
So you're in 8th grade. You are almost done with middle school.
Yay.
How many days do you have left?
20.
About 20
24.
something days
Oh,
left
man,
of,
that's it already.
of middle school total, and then she gets to
Already.
graduate.
But I have
Oh.
a trip that I'm going to. I'm going to Washington next week.
Oh.
Next 2 weeks.
Fun. The capital or the state.
Yes,
Washington,
Washington,
D.C.
D.C.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
So we're excited that you're here. Do you want to tell us one random fact about you?
I can do the split still.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Oh.
Not everybody can do that. So
No.
Yep.
I back in the day,
yep.
I could do that. Right now, it would be a long hospital stay if that happened.
I couldn't even do it back in the day.
So,
So, yeah,
yeah.
I have never been flexible.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bend to me anymore, so I can sit. That's my bend. So
That's wonderful. So last week we talked about depression and just kind of shared some different personal stories with that and then
Yes.
talked about the prevalence of that. And so this week I wanted to come back and kind of circle around to anxiety and kind of what they go hand in hand. Not everybody suffers with both. 4.5 million youth that deal with anxiety and they also are saying that that number has been going up. And even prior to the pandemic, it was already on the rise. And then
Yes.
it went up even faster during the pandemic. And then I was also reading that there are not enough healthcare providers
There are not.
for all of the demand. So they said there's about one healthcare provider for about 300 patients.
the waiting,
Average worldwide.
the
or,
waiting
in the United States.
Yeah, the waiting list to get into a treatment program, and that's both inpatient or outpatient, is ridiculous. When people are in crisis, it's not the time to be put on a waiting list.
Right.
But there's literally, there just is no room. I mean,
Yeah.
and then you get the cases that require immediate inpatient hospitalization. You sit in a hospital for however long it takes to track something down, and it's not surprising for you to find yourself going to the UP, to someplace hundreds of miles away, because literally the demand is so high, and they absolutely do not have the resources to deal with everything that's happening. And I find it so incredibly sad because people that truly legitimately need help right now are being made to just wait, we'll get to you. And that doesn't
Right.
seem to be good enough. I mean, in my book, that's not good enough for people that need care. I don't know.
And that's the people that
to
have
do about
actually tried to get help.
Yes.
You know, they've finally made it to that point to try
And
to
that's
get
a
help.
hard step to get to, is that whole, I'm going to admit it, I'm going to reach out, and I need help. I really need help.
So, Addison, I hope you don't mind if we put you on the spot for some of these questions. But we want to know, because we're the old ladies over here, so we don't know exactly what it's like to be a teenager in 2023. So,
It's hard enough being an adult.
oh my gosh.
I can't imagine growing up
Yes.
in the chaos that the world kind of looks like right now.
So what does that look like, Addison? Just tell us about what that looks like from your experience, anything that you've talked about with your friends, any of your knowledge on what do teenagers need these days? What are they going through these days?
I don't know. I feel like the school system is very like just this like that is a very big factor recently that like they don't like schools don't help with it, and then they stack all of this stress and all this stuff onto students, and then like ask if they're like are you okay, and if they don't like answer yes, or if they don't, or if they even if they say yes, it's they won't do anything about it except go and tell your parents, and then like on from there. But sometimes they don't even do anything, so it's like that is probably a very big factor, because it hasn't like the school system hasn't changed in years, like hundreds of years of like it's the same. So it's like more freedom would be like better for.
Tell me more about that. How that would help. I mean, what that would look like and why
Right,
that would
right.
help with what you're saying.
Because when because like the school system has been around since when we all like when people would normally go into like factories and work like that and stuff like that. It's added some things from like history class we learn about more recent history, but like even now they've taken away like the cooking and home stuff from high schools, and so it like scares you to go, like once you graduate high school you're like scared to be in the real world and don't know what's going on, like
So you don't feel like it prepares you to be
No.
ready to go out to the real world, which then leaves it all on the parents and the
To make
families.
sure
And
that
they're super busy.
Yes.
You
and
know,
they think
so
that schools are like
everybody
functioning yet.
probably thinks it's getting caught here, there, or
Right.
elsewhere. And
Right.
then kids are falling through the cracks. And it sounds like even if somebody were to say maybe they were struggling or something was going on, that it's really not dealt with and like with any urgency, or it doesn't seem to be prioritized or seen. Because I can tell you the world in living has changed a lot from
Right.
when I was growing up and I was your age. Man, you know, I thought things were exciting and really changing then, and I had no idea what was coming. I mean,
Right.
life would be easy if it would just turn back that little bit of time in the big scope of history. In just such a short amount of time, the world has changed drastically and has gotten so busy. Just it's like this frantic pace all the time.
do you agree with that? Do you feel like
I
there's a
do.
lot of
Ever since really like COVID happened, it like everything, like everybody's trying to grow up faster. Like kids or teenagers and stuff are trying to grow up faster because they're stuck where they can't, like, because they don't want to be a kid anymore. So they don't go and like be a kid. And then there's nothing really in between a kid and like an adult to do, because we're stuck in between. Like people don't want to be kids and like go and play in the dirt and stuff, but we're not old enough to drive, so it's like we can't really go places and stuff. So it's like they're stuck, like my age people.
Right.
so like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the last time that you feel like you were your age group was able
Was
to act
before-
like kids was about fifth grade.
Yeah.
And for her, that was right
And
when
then-
the pandemic hit. She was
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
was right at the end
Ugh.
of fifth grade. So, and then it kind of forced you to grow up a
Pretty
little bit
much.
faster. They had to deal with
So
so much heavy uncertainty and fear. Parents couldn't answer questions because we didn't have the answers ourselves.
Adults in general did a really poor job of handling things well. And I think these last, years of COVID responses has demonstrated just really how awful adults have been. And we've been modeling that for everyone to see. We're bickering, fighting, screaming at each other. The hate and the disrespect and the separation and all of it. We have modeled such an ugly way of treating people and living with people in this world. And it's kind of shameful how adults have managed things.
I agree. And you and I talked about this in an earlier episode that the youth, like your age, are seeking out wholesome things to watch. You've told me that there's actually like a term for something that is positive to watch, and it's wholesome. That it stands out from the rest, because what are most of the videos that you see? I mean, I know you guard what you watch, but quite a bit of it is like people making fun of each other or falling down or getting hurt or, these crazy things that they watch.
Like it's always like the mocking and the like they can't find a joke that's like actually funny. Like all of that, it's always just making fun of people and making fun of each other. And you're like, why can't we just be kind to each other? Like, like we don't need the negativity. It's already been a very negative 3 years, like since COVID, because there's been a bunch of people who've died. There's been a bunch of people who've got like severely sick where they're never going to heal or will take a long time to heal. And it's like, why not just be kind to each other? Why make it worse? Like, we have got through this together. Stay together and don't just be positive with each other.
So this is your first school year you've had since fifth grade that has been a relatively quote unquote normal school year. It was no longer all the COVID restrictions and things like that. Do you feel like the school was there for you? Did they talk to you about any of that? Was any of it brought up? Do they talk about mental health in school at all?
The only time that we really talk about mental health is we had like one talk. It was like 3 weeks ago, and it was just a small talk about, it was like an older woman that was talking about how when she was a kid, her friend was depressed once. So it wasn't anything like a younger teacher that was, or somebody who's like going through it or been through it recently.
So it wasn't really
So
relevant.
it wasn't relevant. It was like back in the day, and I'm like,
I
okay.
was cringing as you were describing that.
That's it.
Your speaker
It was what it
had
was.
a friend who knew somebody that was depressed. Or
So what
something
would
to
have
that?
been more impactful for you?
Like somebody that was like going through it or just got through it and is giving advice or reaching out and making sure everybody's okay, having even a small therapy session, like something like that where they like counseled you. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
They like counseled you, like just pulled you aside and asked how you were doing, like every once in a while, like every couple weeks. That would instead of just leaving it up to them, because they assume that the parents will handle that, but the students are too scared to tell the parents, so they
Right.
just keep it in.
So then if kids your age are not talking to their parents, who do they talk to about all of this?
Like their friends and stuff, but even sometimes they don't have friends that they can talk to that about, so they just keep it in and don't.
And don't
They
talk
just-
about it.
And how
Which
does
makes
that end
it
up
worse.
feeling?
It makes it worse because you can't get it out, and then you end up with teenagers that get very aggressive because they have all this stuff held in that they don't know where to
think about
put
that.
it.
Yeah.
That it just turns into anger because they're so mad about the whole everything, or that they're the students that shut everybody out, like the teens that shut everybody out, that just goes quiet.
So we've talked quite a bit about middle school on different episodes, because middle school is
it's hard.
just such a pivotal time in your life. And nobody ever likes middle school. That's not a thing. They don't make movies about how wonderful middle school is.
Oh,
you
the
know?
joys of middle school. It's the
Right.
best years of my life. So.
Right. So a lot of times, that's where a lot of bullying happens, a lot of teasing, all those things. And then, self-esteem kind of tanks. But how do you see that in, kind of in your area? Have you seen a lot of bullying or anything like that?
There's been a lot of not necessarily bullying, like how they punch people for
Sure.
fun and stuff like that.
Well, it's
Because
not always physical.
I go to
Yeah.
a small
Right.
school, but there's been a lot of the things that people say. They might not realize that it's bullying, but it could hurt people down internally that they just don't think about, and that just people don't my teachers don't handle at all. They just let it be because they're just joking, but that person might not think they're joking.
The recipient,
Yeah.
one receiving it is not often seeing the joke in it.
Well, and
Yeah.
quite often, we've talked about that hurt people hurt people. And your self-esteem naturally tanks in middle school. You're going through so many
Oh,
changes. Your
without a
hormones are
doubt.
crazy. Your body is
Yeah.
all of a sudden 6 feet taller than it was. And, you've got all these changes going on. And so that you snap at
Yes.
each other, and it's quite often. And a lot of times maybe they're being bullied at home, or they're, or they're not listened to. They feel like they're invisible. And so at school, they can feel more powerful by kind of being the, the mean girl or the mean boy or
completely
whatever.
agree, because it has to go someplace.
It does.
There is no way that all that stuff can be inside your head and not come out in some way, whether it's self-harming or harming others or bad behavior, whatever it may be, it's going to come out somehow. And it just sounds like we have these kids, and I'm feeling more and more like those middle schoolers are kind of that little overlooked age group.
Very much.
And that's when so many things are being established, learning how to handle yourself in relationships as you're getting older and growing up. And, outside of just the natural things that your body alone is going through in those times, it's hard enough. And then to feel overlooked and dealing with these stressors, not having adults that are taking the time to sit with them, both to listen, but also to talk about all of these things that could be going on in your life and what's normal and what's not normal. And, just keeping their side of the door open. Why do we constantly say, well, we talk to them about it. If they need something, they can come to us. It's time that we start going
One
to
conversation.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that actually brings me to my next question for you. So if the kids your age are not, this isn't being talked about in school and all of that, tell me what parents need to know. How can parents help their teenagers through all of this?
check up on them every once in a while, but make
Did you
sure
do
that
your
they
homework?
know. No, not that. But make sure that they know that it's not just them going through it, that they can talk to their parents and their parents can be with them. Because a lot of the times, young people like me, they get treated, especially in school, they get treated like they're supposed to, my age, I always get told, you're almost in high school, you should act like it. But then they treat me like a kid younger than my age, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. So if I have something to say, they won't listen because I'm only 14. But then when it comes to schoolwork and how to act in school, they're like, you're almost in high school, you should know how to do this, you should act like an adult.
Oh,
So you want your voice to have a place, and you want to be respected for what you have to say,
Yeah.
rather than just you're a kid.
Right.
We don't want to listen to you.
Yeah.
We don't, they're just kids. They have nothing
they're
important
just
to say.
kids, but make sure your schoolwork and
I
that
have
is
learned
our-
so
yeah.
much from her. I always tell her I want to be like her when I grow up.
I know. I've said the same. I want to be you when I
Yeah.
finally grow up. Keep waiting.
So what does anxiety look like for middle schoolers, for teenagers? What does that look like? What does that feel like?
It's different for everybody,
Agreed.
but a lot of the time it's the feeling it's very different for people, but the feeling that it's like something's gonna go wrong before. So like anxious because I'm going on a trip in a
Perfect
week,
example.
and I'm like, I'm gonna leave for a week without my parents, and I'm gonna go with my school, and it's like I don't know what's to come, and I don't know, like, things
Like,
might
whose
happen.
group am I going to be in? What's the hotel
whose
going to be
group
like? What
yeah,
is-
like, what are
yeah.
the rules going to be? Are we going to be able to do this? Are we not going to be able
Right.
to do this? Like, what if this happens? Like, what if this happens? And it's just, like, very, like, then the anxiety kicks in for just a simple thing like that.
Okay.
And then everything else makes it, like, very worse because you're thinking of that, and then you're like, well, I have this assignment to do, and I have this thing I have to do right now, and then this is due right then, and then I have to do this, and these people are having an argument, so I have to go help that. And I like, so there's just like having anxiety about it, like it makes everything worse, and then people don't realize it because it's not a like exterior thing that it
You
is.
can't see it at all.
You
It's
can't
invisible.
see it.
Right.
And
Totally
when
invisible.
people
Yeah.
aren't like mad, like physically aggressive or like crying, sometimes you can't even tell that they're
Right.
going through it.
Right.
So that's like, it's hard because people don't say things unless they get asked because they don't feel like they can say it, right? But when you can't see it, you wouldn't ask. Like,
That's true.
if she was happy, I wouldn't be like, "Are you okay?"
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And so then that's that whole masking it,
Yes.
that whole facade.
This
that
is
you
what
put on.
anxiety can look like right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It can look just like this.
A lot of
And
times when
we
people
could
meet
be-
me and I'm all happy and bubbly, and then I'm like, I deal with severe depression and anxiety, and they're like,
Where
"Are
is
you
it?"
Sure. And I'm like, well, it's not here right at this moment, but give it 5 minutes. you
It'll
know?
be here. Yes.
So I'm hearing you say that you have a lot of expectations throughout the day. You've got schoolwork and you have social things with your friends, and you have then anticipation of different activities or different things. And then you have to carry all of that within yourself. And then you're supposed to behave, and you're supposed to listen, and you're supposed to, follow the rules
good.
and never have an
Yeah, I have to be
outburst of
good.
emotions or anything.
And if you do, then it's like another, like, instead of them asking, "Hey, are you okay?" Like, you just randomly like had an outburst of anger, they just gave you a detention, and then you're more mad, and then you have to handle your
Right.
parents, and then like all this other stuff that gets back like on it, and it's just like,
It just feels so broken, It
does.
just feels so broken. And
Does.
one thing I learned from parenting the most through COVID was everything slowed down. And so I had to go, okay, like, let's
Yep.
examine these things. We're
Yeah.
all in a house together like this now, and we have to get along, and we have to figure this
I know
out.
we're all going to love each other through this. And
But one of the things that
Figure it
I
out.
learned the most is that there's always a reason behind the behavior. It's never just a random outburst of anger or a random crying or, there's
You're right.
always something behind it. And I
Right.
think a lot of times teachers, administrators, adults in general forget that teenagers are walking around
Yeah.
carrying all of that. And then if they play a sport, they have the sport expectations. And then if they have any physical pain that they deal with on a regular basis, or if somebody teased them and,
It's a
we'll get into
snowball
this
of-
in a minute, but social media is
that's
like
a terrible
huge part
yeah,
of it.
it's a huge part, and
is a huge part
it's
of it.
very impactful, and I've like stayed away from it. I don't like going on social media as much because, like, especially for me, because I'm working on like self-love and like
who
loving
raised this girl?
myself,
She's a good one.
like loving myself,
Aaron
seeing
raised his hand.
seeing different people that are like, "Oh, I wish I looked like that." Then I'm like, I don't look like that. I don't love myself. I wish I looked like that. It doesn't help build it, like breaks it down, and it's not a good thing. And people see these things that like happen and stuff, and then it's just very like negative, and all of the negativity on social media is very like impactful in your life that people don't realize that.
Well, and you and I talked about that all of these Instagram filters and Snapchat filters
Yeah.
and all of that, you know, she had a profound thing to say about that. And if you want to share it, I would love for you to.
People like have like when you were a kid when I was a kid before like Snapchat filters were around, you'd take a photo and it would just be you. You'd be fine
Yes.
with it. As soon as all these filters came on, we would hide our face and it would change all this stuff. And then you'd only like yourself with that filter on. And then you wouldn't, then seeing yourself in like the mirror, you'd be like, I don't look good. And you only take photos with filters. And then you like aren't actually loving yourself. Same with makeup. But it's like, it depends on what. If you
Yes.
can love yourself without makeup and without anything on, that is like, that's what we need. But if you need to have makeup on, where you can't do anything without it,
Right.
that's not self-love. That's you have to be comfortable
You are
in your
right.
own skin, not something covering it.
You're right.
Okay, so for our family, I've said
Yes.
before that we didn't allow our kids to have access to a lot of the social media till they turned 13. And there was a reason for that.
Very wise thing.
And people can disagree with that if they want to.
oh, yes.
But first of all, there has to be things that you earn at different ages. You
I
know,
agree.
I feel like if we just give everybody everything at the exact same age, then what is there to look forward to? You
And
know?
how is that preparing them for grown-up life? Because it doesn't work that way.
No.
Well, I'm a grown-up now, so I'm just here waiting for all my grown-up stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would
I
make
have
you
to-
want to grow up even
I'm like,
faster.
I
Exactly.
have to do something for it.
Well, and I want, like she said, I wanted our kids to be kids for as long as they could be. You know, you
I
get to be
wanted
an
to be
adult for the
kids,
rest
yeah.
of your life. Why are children so
Don't rush
fast
it.
to grow up?
Don't rush it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to be kids as long as I wanted, I wanted to be a kid for so long, and then it like
Got taken away
that
from you.
everybody started getting phones, and it was like, hey, let's go to the mall, and I'm like, but I want to go play in the dirt,
Right.
and they were like
I
my
hope she
age
never
people.
loses that.
I know.
I mean, I really mean that.
But like I love adventuring. I want to go on a hike and I
Yes.
want to go
She gets
build
that from me.
something and
I
stuff
know.
like that. But like a lot of the time, like my friends, hey, let's go to the mall or let's go watch a movie, and that's
Right.
like all. Like
Or let's sit and play video games.
or let's sit and play video games or let's sit on our
get
phone. And I'm like,
outside and
yeah, like
explore
it's
the
so nice
world.
out. It's snowing. Look at how much snow we can go play in. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
There's so much. I mean, in play isn't something that just small children or toddlers do.
Right.
I mean, I finally have realized it's okay to play as a grown up and an adult. And my husband, we have fun all the time. We're just being silly, we're just being goofy, but
Yeah.
we are having fun.
And people look at you like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, look at those crazy people over there. And you're thinking, yeah, we're having fun,
Yeah, we're
and
having,
you're not.
I'm like,
You know,
oh
like,
my gosh,
we're smiling
look
and
at
you're
those
not.
poor people over there not having fun.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but I'm finding now it's like I don't even hesitate anymore. I mean, we don't care. We will stop and we'll dance together in Meyer. Like a song will come on and he's like, "Oh, I just want to spin you." So we'll just okay, let's do it. And some people, of course, will kind of give that, the little
Yep.
kind of look. But more people come up to us and said, "That was so much fun. You guys just look like you have a great time." And I think our world is starved for those moments of joy and those moments of fun and of just, just be spontaneous and carefree at times. Just
Right.
let all of it go. Put the phones down and start engaging with people this way, not like this.
Yeah. Or like go
Kids-
try on a whole bunch of dresses.
Yes,
and
spread
get,
your
and
glitter
get so much
everywhere.
glitter all over the
Oh
place
my
that we
gosh,
literally left like footprints of glitter
and
as we were
Mildly
walking.
offended I didn't get invited with for the dresses. I have
Oh,
a secret love
we
of all
might be able
things
to
fancy
arrange a
dresses.
second time to go, and you could come with us.
Oh, yeah,
this
'cause
has already been our
We
second
chose
time
the
going.
giant dressing room
I
so
like
that
that.
like we there anyways. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
The
'Cause
glitter
you have to be
was-
able to spin in the dresses.
We-
Like,
you need
you
full
have to
effect.
have enough room to
It's
spin.
all about the spin. It really
It
is
is.
about the spin.
And there's the pockets. Those are just everything. Pockets and being able to spin.
There's
It is,
something that just makes me happy about pockets, but a skirt that
Yes.
Or like the fancy dresses, and now they have pockets, and you're like, okay, I'm winning at life.
Does life
completely.
get? I'm gonna wear everywhere.
You put some Converse sneakers on with that,
Why
with the
not?
dress, with the pockets. Oh, life is good.
I'm kind of at that point in life now that literally, why not? What if you just felt like, hey, get a couple friends. We're just gonna go stroll around Grand Rapids. It's a beautiful day. Put something amazing on, or just have fun.
Yeah,
If
life's
it
too
makes you
short.
smile and laugh, just do it. And I can guarantee you're going to bring some smiles to other people too. And man, this world needs that.
Well, and it's also very hard to feel anxiety when you're laughing.
That's true.
That is
They're
profoundly
like polar
true.
opposites.
or depression.
Yes.
Like you
It
can't be
is.
sad and happy at the same time.
You can't.
If
Your
you're
brain
laughing,
doesn't let you go that direction.
Yep. And an
Yeah.
authentic laugh actually produces.
Happiness.
I mean, it does.
Yes.
I mean, the way your body is wired and, the chemistry and all of that kind of stuff, it literally will produce those good feelings. It brings, so allow yourself laughter regularly. Find it wherever you can. I'm willing to provide it because I'm always doing something stupid that's worth a laugh. So, yeah.
So I'd like to circle back around and have you tell us something tangible that if somebody your age's parents are not having conversations with them and not willing to listen to them, what would be some words that they could say to their parents that they would understand?
Sup, mom? Pay attention to
Sup,
me.
Addie. Sup.
Give me love.
Give you love.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know, like something where they would, like, because a lot of parents don't understand because they think, oh, you're just a kid. You're too young to
deal with that
to
stuff.
deal with that stuff. But they don't realize the kids have to go through everything. Like you said earlier, even with the sports. With the sports, you then have to keep up your grades to be able to play the sports.
Stay on the team. Yeah.
Right.
And then,
Yep.
like, if something goes wrong or if you get a detention, you can't play in the sport. So
hate-
it's a lot, like, it's a lot of back and forth, and you have to manage everything. You have to know where you're going. You have to keep up telling your parents, like, hey, can I go to this game? Can I do this? Like, that there's not a lot of time for, like, funness other than, like
Everything's overscheduled.
Yeah.
there are people that may be a low C or D student doing the very best they can. They
Yes.
are working hard and they would love to play sports, might be really great at it, and they don't get the opportunity to because of a grade thing. And I have a tremendous problem with somebody not being allowed to play a team sport because of academics.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And to take that away as punishment, I think
Because
is
that could be
awful.
what they excel at. I mean, that is
You
how
are right.
they could
That's
be
a great healthy
created.
outlet. I mean,
Yes.
get outside and play. No, you're not good. You're going to sit right inside and
Yes.
barricade yourself by yourself because you're not good enough.
And who knows if they were
garbage.
allowed to play and maybe it would release some things inside
Yes.
of them, they might even improve their grades because it would give them that drive. And
Right.
we could have a whole podcast on
that
how I
just-
don't agree with how
because-
school systems are because
Yeah.
it is. And like you were saying, it's very driven. Like you have to do it this way and everything is kind of like,
It's very
sending it down.
controlling.
One size
It
fits
is
all.
very controlling. That is what it
The,
is.
the teachers realize, especially at my age, that we are smarter than they think. And they try to, well, I don't like that. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this because I need control over you because if I don't, then you might overpower me and be smarter than me.
But how many great conversations are those teachers missing? If they, I mean,
know.
I love the concept of college because you get to that level and for some reason then your voice matters, right? So
Right.
prior to that, it doesn't. But in college, you have these great classes where the professor almost takes a step back from the spotlight and just says,
Engages.
what do you think? And then you have these beautiful conversations. And I've talked to so many of her classmates and they have such amazing things to say. And the same thing with my sons.
Right.
They have such amazing insights on things. And again, the structure of school is you sit, the teacher tells you what to learn, they tell you how to learn it, and
If you
then
talk
your
or if
opinion
you-
does not
yeah.
matter. If you do talk, you get in trouble. If you disagree with something they're saying, then you're a problem kid.
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure.
So Addison, your father just said that sometimes you've gotten into trouble for asking questions.
Yeah, like in times where like they say something and I'm like, but why? Like, but not saying like, well, why? But saying like, honestly, why?
You want to
Like, why do you
understand.
Challenging
why do you
the status quo.
think that this is correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they yell at me for being disrespectful, for talking back. And I'm like, I have to like state, like I'm honestly asking, not trying to be disrespectful. Like I'm
brothers have
honestly
gotten in trouble
asking
with that,
why.
too.
Because
Why did-
people don't listen. Like they always think that we're being disrespectful. The question why after somebody gets in trouble is always like argumentative, like they're being
Perceived.
disrespectful. Perceived, thank you.
Yep.
Perceived
I knew
as
we'd
like
get there. Yep.
perceived as something like argumentative or like well now you're talking back to me.
Why did it become that? When did people become so afraid of somebody asking why?
Because they want us all to just fit into
They
the
want to
mold.
control.
And just
We haven't raised our
just
kids that way.
listen to what I tell you. That's why. No, and I was the same way growing up.
Oh, and you got in trouble a lot.
all the time, all the time. And it wasn't a defiance. I wasn't asking out of defiance. I literally want to understand. That's how my
Yeah.
brain is wired. If you explain it to me and I understand, I'm good with it.
Right.
It's not understanding and just being told. But I
And
want to
even
understand.
if it's something you don't agree with, or
Right.
you know,
You
it
just
doesn't
wanna
line
know
up with
both
things, and you're
sides,
just
Right.
you just want all the
Just the
information.
information. I just want the
Explain
facts.
it to me. Yes, exactly. And we, like I said, we haven't raised our children to be sheep. You know,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
have raised them, which has been a little challenging through raising them. But again, we're not raising kids. We have never been raising kids. We have always been raising adults. You know, and I
That's
think
what
that
kids turn into.
right. You know, kids do not need to be told how to be kids.
They
Sorry,
don't.
they do not need to be trained on how to be a child. You know,
They absolutely do not.
And-
It's
and
the
the
adulthood
whole-
they need the help with.
yes, and I feel like a lot of times parents, even of younger kids, are like, "When are you going to grow up? Grow up. Why aren't you going to act your age? Grow
Have
up." And I'm
you
like, "Dude, do
noticed
you know how
the-
fast time goes? Like, stop."
The demands on toddlers
Yes.
and preschoolers
Right.
to act and behave a certain way. I'm like, they're little tiny people who have energy to spare, and they've been made to sit
Right.
and sit and
Yeah.
sit and scheduled here and then this over here. And these little bodies were made to run and explore. It's how they learn about the world and cause and effect in life. And
Right. And a lot of times it's the parents' expectations too. So we have tried really, really hard to say to our kids, as long as you are trying your best,
yes,
as long as you are putting a solid effort into things, right? Whatever grade you get, we will praise you for it, right?
yes,
Because A's don't make a child better.
no, they
You know,
do not.
A's and B's do not make a child better.
No,
They really
do
don't.
not.
And so all we have ever looked for is effort, but there are countless, I would say the majority of parents out there set these expectations that are like, you
have to
didn't
get
get straight
A's.
A's, well, you're grounded. You know, how is that going to solve that problem? I mean, really,
It's going to cause your children to be bitter, angry,
Yes.
anxious, depressed. You're
adding to just compounding the anxiety, compounding the depression.
impossible, unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
Literally, that's what it is. Our children are not full grown, fully developed up here people yet.
Yeah.
They're still in the process of getting there, and we do such a disservice by just handing them more weight. Here, while you're drowning, here's some more. Here's
Well,
some more.
And then where is their safe space, right?
Right.
Where's their safe space? So you're at school, you've got all the teachers, the administrators, all of the people that
Yeah.
work at the school have those expectations. Everybody in your life has those expectations, and you have to be on all the time, right?
And who are you supposed to talk to if everybody in your school is against you, saying you have to
Yes.
get these things? If you're not, well, you didn't do this. Why'd you not do this?
Right.
And then you go home and you don't have straight A's, then the parents are not on your side either.
They
Who
don't
are you
accept
supposed
you
to,
for who you are.
Yeah,
if you
who
don't
are you
have
supposed
straight
to
A's.
talk to? Then that's how kids keep it in. That's the whole.
You learn how to not talk
yeah,
about
you learn how
things.
to not talk about it, how to keep it
I'm
internally.
a poster child for how that works out.
Right, right.
But that's one thing that I love about my old school is that, like, about the kids thing is we didn't have like a seating chart. That was an open
She went
floor.
to Grand Rapids
There
Montessori.
were two.
Oh,
there were
wonderful.
two desks in the entire classroom, and then the teacher's desk. There were rugs that we're first, second, and third graders. We have energy. We're literally like. We're wanted to walk around and get up and do stuff. But if I do that in my school, I'd get in trouble. Why are you standing up? Well,
Right.
I've been sitting here for like 4
body
hours.
needs to move.
Like I need to
Right.
move. And then if you sit a wrong way, then that's not proper. You have to be proper.
Yeah.
So it's a very high expectation. But in my old school, we didn't even have like a set schedule. We'd have our specials at a specific time, but during the day we had this much stuff to get done.
Right.
Yep.
And then
they could
we
do
could
it in whatever
choose
order they wanted to.
whatever
I
each day we could
love it.
choose whatever we wanted to do first.
Look what that teaches kids also.
Responsibility.
Here
Yeah.
it is. All I'm asking, this is what you need to accomplish today. And it teaches them how to schedule things, how to approach that, how to
Yeah.
get things done in a time frame. It gives them some control
Right.
over their life to make decisions.
And I think
It's
that
beautiful.
is such a big word right there, is control. Because in
Yes.
as a middle schooler, do you feel like you have control over much in your life?
Nope.
No. I mean, hardly anything, right?
I know
I mean,
how
we
that
try
Yeah.
to
I
give
know
her
what it
control
feels
at the
like
house,
when
but
I feel that way. I am down. I mean, I roller coaster downhill so fast when I feel control has been taken from me and I have no saying in anything. I don't respond well to it. I'm just going to say that. So,
It makes a lot of people want to rebel because, well, you're not letting me do this, so I'm going to make it harder on you and I'm going to be like a problem child. Like, my school especially is very strict with everything. They don't let anything go. They're not.
very strict.
This year, especially, a person in particular came back that has changed all of the rules for the teachers and everything. She came back in the second highest role after not being here for 4 years and changed like everything. And so then it's not just like I'm used to the rules. I'm like, okay, this is fine. She
Yeah, by
changed
eighth grade, knowing what the
everything.
rules are,
Right.
knowing what the expectations
Yeah,
are,
we
it
can-
should have
we
been a
can, like-
breeze year.
It should have
you know?
been.
But then she started changing things and then yells at us for things that the teachers always think, like she always thinks that it's our problem. Well, we're the older kids, so of course we're the ones being noisy and we're the ones making a mess. But like on the bus, she yelled at us for being loud when it was the kids that were being loud. And we told her that and she started arguing she was saying, because one of the girls in my class like stood up and was like, hey, it wasn't us. Like it was the little kids. And she wouldn't listen.
Again,
Not
voices
hearing.
not being heard.
Like they
Right.
don't believe like, well, you're still doing the problem because that one bus driver said that it was you. But we were like, I take the bus every single day and I know everything that happens. No, like we as the middle schoolers were being the eighth graders were being respectful. We were sitting down quietly doing everything that they were telling us. We were still having conversations in the back, right? But everybody else is screaming and stuff, but we get in trouble for it. So it doesn't.
I'm
Go ahead.
feeling like adults sit here and judge young people and your age group and that as, oh, these rotten kids, or they're not they're so disrespectful, or they're always acting out, or they're always this. And I'm taking these things in and I'm sifting through all this stuff and I'm like, at the end of the day, I think there's an awful lot of adults that bear the responsibility for this. We have done such a disservice in hearing, in raising, in teaching, in those teachable moments, that coming alongside, modeling, all of those things. I think our kids have had such a disservice done to them in going through life, facing all of these things without adults around them modeling that, or sitting with them to get through them in a world that is like this. Any parent that's just like, oh, kids are always kids, it's always been like this is just, no, it's not. No, it's not. Kids, the way they are growing up right now, it has never been like this. You can't sit and say, oh, I send my kids to this particular school or I send them to a Christian school. All that stuff never happens there. Yes, it does.
Right.
And maybe even more because even more expectations can be put on in certain other type schools. But adults need to stop blaming kids for problems they have direct hand in causing. I'm just feeling an awful lot of weight and responsibility on behalf of grown-ups who literally don't even see these amazing human beings growing up. We're not listening.
Or we're not listening, and we also are expecting that we understand what they're going through, but we don't. We
How?
don't.
We've
There's
never
no
been through
way.
what they're going through.
Absolutely, and I think that's huge, and that's why we wanted you to come on here, because we wanted somebody's perspective that wasn't
Help
ours.
us.
You know,
Help us.
I think that's really important, and so I don't want to go too dark with things, but
Right.
one of the things that you said was that you have all these anxieties and all these expectations and all of this that you're carrying, right? And then you don't have school to talk to, and you don't have your parents to talk to, and you sort of have friends, but they're going through it too, so you don't really have it. And I do feel like that's why the suicide rate is climbing.
It is because
in
people
teens.
have a lot of expectations and just get shoved aside like you're not important. And then they're like, well, I have nobody to talk to at all in anything. I'm feeling alone. Like there's nothing. I'm just going through this hard life. It's not going to get any better because then I have to go do all this. Like people don't see an out because of they have like me, I have 4 years left of school. People
Right.
might think 4 years is like eternity and not be able to handle it. Like it's terrible that the suicide rate has gone up. Like
Yeah.
like people need to be more like I've been going like natural with things. Like I've been doing things that make me happy. Because
I do
if you're stuck with, well, this person likes this, so I'm going to do this. Or this person likes this, so I'm going to do this. It won't make you the same happy. If you do something that'll make you happy and you work towards it, then it'll make you happier, and then you can like find a way to escape, because especially like my age people are like a little bit older, a little bit younger. They have like the parents are mad at them and the school is mad at them, and they can't like go for a drive and go and sit somewhere. They're stuck.
They can't get
they're
away
at their
from it.
house. They're stuck.
Ugh.
So it's like, it's terrible that it's
Yeah, it's
gone up.
profoundly
No, it
sad.
is. I mean, and
I've shared,
we do have
we've
to
got
talk about it.
two dear
Yeah.
friends of mine that both have lost their sons over the past year and a half to suicide, and we've had to walk alongside, families that we care greatly. Both of them were high school age, and the loss is just so profound. It's devastating to watch them just still now struggling with this unbelievable loss, but really take into consideration that not only are we not doing a great job acknowledging the existence of these amazing young people, we're not taking the time to listen. And when they're going through these things, like you said, and I hadn't stopped to really think about it, they don't have the option of getting away from it.
No.
I mean, because I know I can remove myself from it. I can go from that drive. I can go do this. I can.
Well,
They-
even going for a walk, I mean, and
But
it's
people-
scary as
yeah.
a parent, because I'm like, well, she's a beautiful young lady, and then
Right.
she just wants to go for a walk to clear her mind.
Right.
But then I have to think about,
And especially at,
There's
like,
the
not
dangers
a lot of
of
beautiful.
and especially like at night, because most of the time during the day it's safer. I can bring the dog with
Right.
me. At night,
Yes.
I'm like, it's dangerous. I
It
can't
is.
see as well, and then
Yeah.
I'm going for a walk. You don't know what can happen.
well,
and
and
it's
nighttime
like-
seems to be the time that teenagers' brains come alive.
Yeah, no,
they
they're
wake
ready
up
to go.
around like 4:30 in
Ready
the
to
afternoon,
go.
and they're like, "Woo!" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
In the morning time they're like zombies. In the evening they're like, "I would like to tell you every single
know.
thing about my day at 11 o'clock at night." I'm
really
like, "Okay."
wish school started later.
Yes.
I really
Yes.
wish school
would-
started
yes.
later for our kids.
Yep.
Look at what time we're dragging them out of bed. Kids, man,
know.
they need their sleep.
do.
Isn't it scientifically proven that like people's brains start actually like functioning perfectly at like 10 a.m., not 7 in the morning?
Right.
Like we go to school at 7 in the morning and we're like,
Well, yeah, and teenagers
know. Kids
need like 12 hours of sleep,
they
and
need
none
they
of
only
them
get
it.
like 6
None
because
of
they
them get
have
it.
they're expected
Yeah.
to have like 4 hours of homework and study time after school. After the 8-hour day,
Yep.
we're supposed to have 4 hours. Then we have the little bit of free time super late at night, go to bed and have to wake up early and do
do
the
it
And
exact
again,
all
trying
same
to
thing.
unwind your brain, trying to
Yeah.
actually get to sleep. It used to frustrate me because I'm like, my kids go to bed so late. And then they're like, we try to sleep, but we can't. Like they
Trying.
cannot
Yeah.
sleep
I
any
know.
earlier than that.
All of
Some of the
them.
major things that I heard you say included that you are not seen, you are not heard, you are not respected as middle schoolers, as teenagers, And so I think us as adults as a whole
Yeah.
need to do a lot better at
We do.
slowing down, listening to our children, whether we are teachers or administrators or Sunday school teachers or
Whatever
youth
you
counselors
are.
or coaches. I can't even tell you how many conversations
be
I had with
Aunts
my
and
players.
uncles and
Yes.
I mean, so many people
But
are
really
there to
genuinely
hear.
listen. And there's a difference between listening in order to give a solution and listening in order to just listen.
To loosen up some of the stress on
Yeah.
anxiety on people.
Absolutely.
I think that as adults, like not saying you guys, but like adults in general, the suicide rate has been going up, especially for high schoolers. I think that should say something about high school, about
Yeah.
this needs to change.
so right.
People are killing themselves because of this
It
school.
just makes me want to cry. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I know.
the loss
Like,
is
No, you're not
just-
wrong.
Yeah, people are killing themselves because of this school and because they're stuck. We need to change that as a society. That needs to get changed if this keeps happening. And it's just going up and people are getting younger. And it's not okay. If this is happening, it needs to change.
Yeah, rates are increasing in the single digit age groups, which just 8 and 9-year-old
It breaks
kids.
my heart more than
Yeah.
I can even handle.
And I'm like, what are
They've
we
barely
doing that
started
life
living.
is so heavy
But when you
Right.
on
think
these
about
young
it,
lives?
most of the time it's over school. Over some, like a lot of the times
Whether
it's
it's
over
actual
school.
school or bullying
Or bullying,
Yep.
it always, it's a lot of the time starts with school.
Right.
That should say something to people to change. Like, hey, let's have a group meeting in our school. What can we change that will make you guys happier? And
Wouldn't that be
listen,
amazing?
That
but
would
not
be
just
beautiful.
listen to people's ideas, but actually change them.
If I learned anything from college and from managing places, I learned that if you ask an employee what they need to succeed,
Yes.
9 times out of 10 they will tell you exactly what
What
they
they
need,
need.
and they'll get the job done better. And so
Right.
if you ask a student what they need to succeed, you'd be amazed at the answers and the responses.
So I feel like we have a challenge for the school systems.
I
think they need to turn around and ask the kids what they need.
With
Middle
this
school,
challenge.
middle school, high school. Like she said earlier, they are expecting them to act like adults, right? They're moving them in that direction. They want them to act that way. Well, then respect what they have to say,
Listen.
because this generation is going to be the one that's going to break all the chains, all the rules, all the everything,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they are saying enough.
Enough. Yes.
Enough with the way that things have been done. Enough with how everything's been done for forever. And they are pushing back. And I love it. I am
Yay.
rooting them on. I am
Young
so
people.
excited. The ideas, the concepts, the relational things that this generation is bringing to the table is like something we've never seen before.
Yes. And in a culture that has all the things bombarding them, but you are going to be the game changers. You're going to be those rule breakers, but the rules that need to be broken.
Exactly.
They need to be just shatter them all.
The things that
and
need to be
get back
changed
to the
and-
things that
Yeah.
will again make life this beautiful thing to live and not something to try and figure out how can I escape it.
Or
You
how
don't-
can I survive? It
I was
shouldn't
just gonna
be.
say
It
that,
shouldn't
yes.
be a
Survive.
survival thing. It should be a how can I live better, not a like
Right.
what makes my life better type of like fuller and more fun. It's the how am I going to survive through this? I shouldn't. As kids, we shouldn't
Kids
have
their
to
age
think
should not
that.
feel that way.
You shouldn't
We
be
shouldn't have to
surviving.
be. Well, I've got 4 years left. Maybe if I just like, I could maybe make it right instead of the like, hey, I got 4 years of high school, right? Like,
I mean, we're in that right now with her. We're trying to
Yeah.
figure out where she's going to go for high school,
Right.
you know, because it's that same thing of, well, do I want to spend 4 years doing it the way that it's been done, or do we want to do it differently? You know, we want to try to figure that out. I mean, she's got great ideas for like a whole school concept and all of
Yes.
this. I'm like,
I could totally
should I
make a
just hand
school.
her the keys to the universe now because she has the most amazing ideas. I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah, like especially I feel like this generation, like I don't know what generation this is.
You're Z.
Gen Z.
You're at the end.
Yeah, I know.
We'll start over
Are
with
we gonna
A.
go A,
With
A?
A next.
That's true though. We're at the end. We
Subsets
gotta,
and-
yeah.
Yep.
But like, I feel like this generation, it's not just like when we go to dispute something with someone, we don't just, well, my idea is the only idea that could work.
Yes.
It's I do research and we do research and like find both sides to counteract every possible solution you could sort of come up with to try to still like have their mind not change. To I'm going on this trip, right? Mm-hmm. They won't let me bring my phone. My thought is because if I say like, hey, what about safety?
Right.
They'll say, well, your leader has a phone. But what if I get lost from my leader?
And you don't know your leader's
I don't
number.
know my leader's number. I'm not going to walk up to a stranger and ask, because stranger danger. But even if I do, I don't know my leader's number. Who am I supposed to call? How am I supposed to figure out what to do? Because we're still kids in a different state, downtown, wherever we are. What will we do if we have our phone on us?
Do they say why you can't
No,
have it?
they just say
Just
no.
really strict.
But we're also driving 12 hours away, and we're not allowed to like have contact to our parents at all times.
So it's
I feel
traumatic
like
on
it's
both
not
ends,
just
right?
a,
Like,
to me is all like,
I
Yeah.
track my
excuse me,
children. I
school-
mean, I don't track my children like I'm
No,
stalking
she has,
them, but
like,
I
our-
know where they
our
are at all
location.
times.
So even if you're in a different state
Right.
and I'm somewhere, and if somebody can't find me and I have my phone on me, they can call her and be like, hey, where is she? Mm-hmm. Check my location and
these-
find the exact spot. Ow,
But
that
listen
hurt.
to all of this. These are things that when we were young and we went on class trips, we didn't have to think about any of that
Because it's not
at all.
Yeah.
That is not the world that you and I grew up in
No,
at all.
When I was maybe a year older than you, and our trip was down to Chicago, right downtown Chicago. As soon as the chaperones were in bed, we were running the streets of Chicago in the middle of
Can you
the
imagine
night.
that now?
That would
In
be
the
terrible
middle
now.
of the night, like scattered in every which direction. One kid somehow managed to bring a whole bunch of booze with. I mean, it was just like,
Yep.
what in the world?
But again,
But
you
it's
didn't
more
have
free.
that. You didn't have all the anxiety of. Yes, you have the anxiety of I'm going on this trip. Have I been to this place before? I don't know. Right.
Right.
But that was kind of it. You
That
know,
was
did I
it.
pack the right stuff? Maybe.
Yeah.
But in the world they live in,
it's so
they have.
different.
And that's the thing
Don't
with the
you
technology,
ever go
right? So
run
they
the
have
streets
grown
of
up
Chicago.
in technology. You and I have talked about
Yes.
that. They have grown up in technology, immersed in technology. They're never away from technology, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, they're supposed to go for 5 days to another state without their parents, without any
Technology and
any
different
information. But I think about even like music for all of my children is very calming. They either like listen to it really loud. Or we dance around in the house and
Yes.
stuff. But that's like their comfort, right?
Comfort is music, and there's different genres.
That's
there's
how they
like
get to
I
sleep at
agree.
night. That's how. So
Yeah.
they're in a
agree.
different location. They're in a strange hotel, and then they have to just go to sleep.
yeah,
when
like that's
all
not
of them So they have to just suddenly break their patterns of what they
No,
do.
I disagree with that.
I
rule, too.
wholeheartedly disagree with that.
And it's not even like if I'm in a business meeting now in this day and age, I'd have my phone with me.
Mine's right over there. Yeah.
Like it's not like well, you're in work so you don't have your phone. People have their phones with them. There
Right.
might be the one job somewhere in the world where they don't bring their phones because of safety or because
Or like
of
if
this.
they're underwater, maybe.
If they're underwater, they might, but they probably will put it in a bag.
Well, you got a
the
waterproof
Ziploc bag, and you're
I
like,
mean, quite honestly, though, yes. Yeah.
right? Why is it that in school we are not even allowed to have them with us? For me, if it's in my pocket, I can get it taken away. It has to be in my locker where nobody can see. So if I feel like this should be a learning experience of they let us have our phone, but if we're on it in class, playing games, doing whatever we want, they can take it away. Like you're not being responsible, you're not paying attention.
Right.
I'm going to take this. But if we are just have it in between classes, we have a 5-minute break in between classes, stuff like that, or like we're doing research and I'm like, what is this? And I like look it up, right?
Right.
Then it's so much easier. And it's like,
Well, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Because even, okay, this is going to be really funny, but even churches, it used to be like, oh my gosh, don't take your phone out. Well, at the church that we used to go to, they would be like, everybody take your phones out. We have
And-
our bulletin on the phone.
Yeah.
Now. And I was like,
Yep.
okay, but here's the thing. The world has shifted that direction, right? Everybody has their technology. Adults know my phone is sitting here. I'm not sitting here playing on my phone. I have it because I'm watching our time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But adults have that. And like she's saying, the children are not being taught how to control their time. It's just, no, you can't have it.
Just
so then
no.
they learn how to have it sneakily.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Because
learn
it's
how to have it, you know?
I'll figure out
Having
how
a
to.
goal rules, it makes it
increases
sneaky.
anxiety because then they're
Right.
constantly thinking, I'm gonna get caught. I'm gonna, you know,
Or
like,
they'll get
but I want to
caught
have
and
it with me.
punished
And for
and
like
labeled and-
safety,
These are
I
things
bring
that
my
we just never
Never
had
had
to
to.
think of any of this when we were your age at all.
No.
That was just not a thing.
The world has
I got my first cell phone when I
changed.
was in college. So
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
world has changed as it brought in technology. Why have the schools not changed?
lot.
life needs to change with
Like
it.
why
I agree.
has the school system not changed with life? Life has changed. That should change with it.
Yep.
It's like school's back here, life's going over here, still
I
going.
completely agree with
Like
you,
it
Be
hasn't
Jenny.
like a
changed
school
the
administrator
system.
at the
Yes.
age of
The-
14.
Yes.
We'll call her Doogie
Take
Addison.
it over. We'll get you a job in the White House running the school systems here.
Yep.
We need a change.
But like the only thing that's changed is I got Chromebooks, but they even tell you you're not allowed to be on your Chromebook right now. Well, what if I'm looking up how to do math problems? Like they
Right.
like always are watching what you're doing. If you just look up a question while you're supposed to be doing this, they turn off your like browsing thing.
No, I do agree that there do need to have some.
There do need to be.
There has to be parameters.
Wow, I'm so good at speaking. I should do this for a
Parameters?
living. This
There
is
do need to be.
amazing.
There do need to be.
to be parameters and rules because
Yeah.
people are going to break them. You
Right.
know, I mean, not
Like-
everybody is Addison, but
Like
I
having the
do-
phone being able to take away, but
like
having it
our,
with it.
But with our kids, and we have always done this, is we trust you first.
Yes.
You don't have to earn our trust. You're born with it.
You
we
have it.
trust you first. If you break that trust,
That's your decision.
then it's going to take you a while to get back into it, right?
Right.
But a lot of parents are like, well, they haven't earned my trust. I'm like, but were they born? Like,
Don't forget that. They're the ones who raised them.
but that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
so
Some untrustworthy parent is going to have untrustworthy children. So that I understand. So if you're an untrustworthy person, you can assume that your kids are lying.
right.
Yeah.
So we have always assumed that our kids are telling us the truth, and we assumed that they're doing what we ask them to, until we find out if they're not. You know.
That's the right way to go about it in my book.
Right. I mean, why do kids have to earn that from their parents? It's like, do you have to earn my love too? You know, I mean, why is
There's
that?
a question.
Why is that? You know,
I know.
I never ever understood that. And again, of course, we have rules in our household. I'm not saying our kids just like run rampant and do whatever they
Right.
want. You know,
Yeah.
but we've always explained to them, this is what we're putting a boundary on, and this is why. You know, these,
Right.
if you make these choices, this could happen.
Yes.
You know,
And
these are
allow
the reasons
them-
that we're protecting you. These are the reasons that we have these ages in place for things. These
Yeah.
are the reasons. We don't just say, because I said so, because
Yeah.
this is, you know, like that's so important.
And that's probably why I get so curious, because instead of like, I've always grown up where if I ask why, they'll be like, this is why. Or if it's something that they can't explain just yet, they're like, I can tell you why when you're just a little bit older. It's just, I can't tell you right now. It's like, you're too young. And I'm like, okay, right. And
Yep.
go on with my life. At school,
because they know we're not hiding things from
Right.
them. We're just
Yeah.
protecting them from that.
and I respect it. So I'm not like, well, I'm going to go do this anyway, because
Because
I'm like, she has a reason behind it. And if
she
she can't
trusts
tell me,
you.
then it's something that I shouldn't know yet. I'm too young and I shouldn't have to worry about.
like
This
our kids
is
don't our kids don't lie.
remarkable.
Yeah.
She absolutely trusts your answer because you've proven you are worthy of her trusting. So even in those where it's like, someday when you're ready or you're older or whatever, we'll have further conversation. And she's like, okay. And she just trusts that is because they love me and I'm just not ready yet. Okay.
Right.
And that is a beautiful thing to
Well, and our
see.
kids don't lie because of it. You know, we have met with administration and teachers and everybody, and they're
Right.
like, oh yeah, your kids don't lie. We just ask them and they'll be like, yeah, I did that. Yep, that was me.
It gets us
because
out of
why
trouble
lie?
a lot
Yes.
because there was a time that it like I didn't like my teacher at first, and I've come to really, really like him because he's such a cool person.
Okay.
And he like I was like rude, and I was like talking about like, oh my gosh, that stupid teacher, right? Like I was just rude. And
I
he
love her
asked
little
me,
side to side head.
he like asked me, came up to me and like was like, did you say this? And I was like, yes, sorry, like I won't say it again. Like I realized that I was wrong. And I didn't get in trouble, but my friend that was like, I didn't say that. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're amazing.
She got in trouble and got a detention because she lied.
Right.
Like he knows that she said it. Like
Yes.
if a person comes and asks you directly, like a teacher, did you do this? At
Yes,
this
I
time,
very much
did at this time doing this,
I
this.
initiated the walkout.
If
Yep.
you lie, you already know that the person knows. Why lie about it? Like-
yeah, why?
And
Good question.
even if they just ask you, like, you'll get into less trouble if you don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like another thing that I was talking about, how you say you trust us before we give you a reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
Schools don't do that. They always assume you're lying. Well, you're not going to tell me
Mm-hmm.
the truth. So there's been times where like I've just gotten so mad because like they ask me something and I say something and they don't believe me. And I'm like, I'm not lying. I swear
Mm.
on my life, I am not lying. Like, why do you not believe me?
Oh,
And they're like, well, you can't be telling the truth. Like it happened at volleyball once, and it was like something that the entire crowd saw. I was challenging the ref on a call,
okay.
and he was like, no, because the line judge said it. And I was like, but it didn't
The line
touch
judge
me.
wasn't looking.
Specify who you were doing it for.
The other team.
Oh yeah, I was doing it for the other team.
Oh.
For our point.
You
like they
raised
gave
one
it
of
to
these really
they gave it
good
to
ones.
us. They gave the point to us.
Oh.
And she was arguing that
And
that
I was
not right.
arguing. I was
Yes.
like, that's not right.
This-
like
Our whole team was.
our
This
whole
is
team was mad. I
sportsmanship.
wasn't
Right.
even the captain. I shouldn't have been challenging it.
Oh, man.
But I was like, this is not right. Nobody is listening. The whole crowd saw it. They saw it. We saw it. Why are you listening to the one person that's saying that it's wrong? Like,
because I taught
'cause
the
they were
girls,
turned
I said-
around.
I said it's more important to have good sportsmanship than it is to win.
Oh, always.
You know,
Yeah.
and we played
Always.
against a couple teams that just cheated so bad. And I would say to them, now how does that feel? You
Right.
know, you would have won the game, but not fairly, and you would have
Right.
known. And I'm like, that means that coach doesn't trust her players. She does not trust that they have enough skill to get the job done without cheating.
cheating.
And I
Yeah.
said, I would never, ever look at you guys and say that. I know the skill that you have. Win or lose, I know that the effort that
Yeah.
you're putting out there. you know?
Yeah, she took away their opportunity
Yes.
To play
celebrate
fairly.
a win
Right.
Yeah.
that they
And
earned.
they weren't even super excited about it, you know? After they won, it was kind of like, yay.
because it's
you
a
know?
false win.
Yeah.
It is.
We got mad because we won, actually, because we wanted to fairly win. We don't want to win because somebody was
Yes.
like not paying attention and we're just like, well, you win.
Yep.
Like that's not, I want to win fairly and not have them like cheat and stuff.
You're a good one.
You're amazing.
You're a good
and
one.
we actually have to end here. Otherwise, it'll be
Okay.
tomorrow before we end. But I can't. I mean, you already know how proud I am of you. And I mean, you have wisdom well beyond your years. And everybody's always said that. I mean, she's 14. She speaks like she's 20. I mean, but you have amazing things to say. What you have to say is really, really valuable and
It is.
important. So never, ever stop talking, even if people tell you not to. Always let your voice be heard. So thank you for.
Thank you.
We were very blessed to have you as a part of this.
I've
I mean,
enjoyed
you
this.
just did amazing.
Well, thank you for having
You were
me.
great. And I want to let you know your mother talks about you this way even when you're not around. She is incredibly proud of you.
So kind.
Aw.
So proud of you. So I
am.
just that the relationship that you have is a beautiful thing, and I love to watch it. So it has been wonderful being here with you today, and I really thank you you've educated me on some things that I need to be more aware of,
Me as well.
and you've really got my mind thinking about some things, and I appreciate you for that a lot. You're going to do some amazing things. I know you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. And we're here. You know, if you guys have questions, if you just want to talk about stuff, if you're a teenager or a tween or a parent of teens or tweens, or just a regular person with their tongue sticking out, just get a hold of us. This is who we are. We're as real as it gets. We're as unfiltered as it gets.
This is
we
it.
don't say words properly, and that's okay.
Or we say
for
improper
real,
words when
for
we
real.
probably shouldn't. But
Yes. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.